Hello, 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 and welcome to Serve University. I'm so thrilled that you've made it back for yet another training. This marks probably, if not your second or maybe your 17th class with Serve University. Wherever you have met us along your journey of nonprofit learning and training and development, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Brandy Ray Hicks, and I am your nonprofit navigator. I am a grant writer. I am an executive director of College Clinic. And I am someone who loves to give back. I've made a career out of serving. I have made a life mission of people finding the best in them and using those gifts and resources to serve their community and give back. No matter where their journey began, whether it was something out of love or something out of not so great feelings, that developed their need to want to make a situation better than what they found it. To use sometimes the skills that they use seamlessly every day through their 9 to 5, or something of their passion that they wish that they could get more of, or someone that wants to share their gifts with people and watch and allow their kids to grow up knowing a sense of community. And so welcome to Serve University. This is a virtual training to enhance the skills that you already have, to teach you how to serve in your community more abundantly. And so, I think that we have someone jumping in. And so as you jump in, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
We will have people jumping in and out all throughout the session. And so I am going to adjust some settings here. And so if you jump down and look at the chat button right there, I've sent a message already to the group. If you check it, you could go ahead and enter in any of your questions, introduce yourself as more people jump into the platform. Let's see. Awesome sauce. Oops. We're just getting the hang of Zoom in this platform. And so as a nonprofit leader, there's a couple of levels of how you meet and join on the Serve University's campus. Now we have new to nonprofit leaders. Those are people, hey Lori, how are you? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help support you. There is a chat button at the bottom of your screen. It'll pop up where you can introduce yourself, make sure you let us know who you are, your nonprofit. Okay, so we'll get the chat button up and going in just a second. Let's see. You can't hear me? Okay, you should be able to hear me now. I'm sorry, go ahead. You can't hear me? Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I am going to leave the session and then I'm going to jump back in. So let's do. And hello and welcome again to Serve University, where we have nonprofit leaders that join us each and every webcast in order to learn skills to enhance themselves to serving their community more abundantly. And I am Brandy Ray Hicks. I am your nonprofit navigator. And I help nonprofit leaders take their natural born gifts, whether they are working in a 9 to 5, whether they have a hobby that they would like to serve more and teach others how to do and fall madly in love with their hobby as well. I work with people who just love to give back. And so Serve University is a virtual campus where we come together and learn how to lead. And so tonight we will be talking through our spring semester curriculum called Community, Partnerships, and Meetings. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for nonprofit leaders as we're thinking about growth and expansion. How do we play well with others in the sandbox called our backyard, our neighbors, or our citizens? How do we connect with other nonprofits where we feel like we're not competing with one another, where we're collaborating with one another? We're looking here this evening to look for skills to figure out how do we formalize those community partnerships outside of a conversation. What does it look like on paper to solidify that partnership, possibly for upcoming grant opportunities, for when you have money that is in the bank in both of you all's names in order to divvy up the work responsibilities? If there is an in-kind gesture, I rub your back in the community, you rub mine, what does that look like? What does time commitment look like in each particular community partnership? So we have a host of things that we're going to work through today. Now, the lessons that you are going to learn today, you can apply them whether you are new to nonprofit. If you are having an idea that is currently on your head, in your heart, and you're looking to start to get it in paper, start to get it in action, you're going to catch tools and tips in order to start those conversations and what those conversations look like when you're ready to push go. Then there are those nonprofit leaders that have their 501c3. They've been serving anywhere from 3 to 10 years, but they fundraise under $25,000. We're going to provide you with tools at your comfort level, whether you can implement it now or as you are working in your strategic plan in order to grow your nonprofit. You'll know when the appropriate time is to implement these particular tools and resources that we give you. And so for those nonprofits that are fundraising 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure nonprofit organizations, that I'm sure that there's some tips and tools in here as far as your administrative documents. How do you keep things organized? How do you keep things readily accessible for immediate grant answers or make it easier for sharing information amongst your team? So there's a lot of information here for all levels of nonprofit leaders. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to share my screen with you all. And so I haven't left you. I'm up here in the right-hand corner. Let me shrink myself just a little. I thought there was a way that I could here we go. There we go. So my head's not so big on the screen. Okay, so Microsoft OneNote is our virtual campus where we have all the information centralized in one location. Because what typically when you're in workshops or trainings or things of that nature, they send you an email with all of the PDFs attached to one email. And sometimes when you have hundreds and hundreds of emails coming through your email, that sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle feed. So what Microsoft OneNote is, think of it as like a regular 3-ring binder notebook where it has the binder, which I'll show you. Like these are my binders. So imagine on a bookshelf that I had binders lined up and these were on the spines of the binders. These are all of my notebooks. I have more notebooks, but they're embedded in other places. And then when you open up the notebooks that you have tabs, here are your tabs across the top. So depending on what device you are on, I am on a MacBook. If you have your Chromebook or you're looking at it at a tablet, it may look a little different, but you can download Microsoft OneNote from your Google Play store or from your iTunes store, and it's free of charge. Once you download it, create your user login and password, and then every time that you receive a link from Serve University, you'll directly get to go to the virtual campus. So let's go through the tabs and let's go through the notebook so you can get familiar with where things are. So across the top, you have your tabs. This is an e-workbook, proposal to community partners, MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. Let me move my head over just a little bit, and community meetings. Now, underneath each one of these tabs, there are pages, just like if you had a 3-ring binder and there was tabs, and then you had the 8.5 by 11 pages that fit in between the tabs. So on the first tab of eWorkbook, you're gonna see the entire workbook on the right-hand side where the pages are. So you'll see the entire workbook in a PDF version. And you can print this out if you want to download this to your digital library. The next thing what happens on the various tabs and pages is that I break down this curriculum so it's easier to see it in a snapshot. The next page is that once this training is over, you will be able to access this with a live video embedded in it. Let me show you another one that we just did, implementing the strategic plan. I think this one has a video, yes. So once the live training is over, then this becomes a home study. So you'll click on the one that says video and you see how you can click on that and the video appears. So you don't have to go through like YouTube. This does appear. Right, this happens. Sorry, it's just a little slow. And it directs you to the page on YouTube. See? So you'll have an opportunity to do that when you get the email of the replay. All right, so let's go back to ours here. All right, you have a welcome page. Each one of our workbooks has our spring welcome page for our new students that come onto our campus. The next page is a how to use this manual. So what you'll do in any of our online curriculums, you'll have this direct link to get onto the campus again. And then when, again, this training is uploaded, it'll have the link to the YouTube, which you'll already have that embedded into this tab here, or this page here. The next thing is that we always remind our students to ask themselves, what is your gift? To list one great thing about your nonprofit. Now, if you're new to Serve University, you'll think of one great thing about your nonprofit because leading sometimes gets lonely. And so you always have to remind yourself of something great about your nonprofit. Now, if you have taken this class more than once, then you have to write something down different every single time you take a Serve University course. And you also have to remind yourself of when you fell in love with giving back, because we always have to remind ourselves that our gift is unique and special. There may be someone else having an after-school program, someone else that may be serving the homeless, someone else that may be working with veteran services or with young people, but no one can do it uniquely like you. So I want you to take a moment to remember, when did you fall in love with giving back? The next page on the tab under eWorkbook is your mission statement. You want to make sure that you remember your mission statement, because sometimes as nonprofit leaders, all you get is 30 seconds and you got to hit your mission statement and who you are and what you do and why you're there in 30 seconds or less. So I'll give you an example. My name is Brandy Ray Hicks. I am the Executive Director of College Clinic, and we help transition students into college and beyond through academic preparedness, financial literacy, and basic life skills. I work with over 10,000 high school students in helping them create a plan of what life and learning looks like after high school. Who do you know in the community that I can help them transition into college and beyond? So 30 seconds or less. You have to remember to always say your mission statement because that tells the community who you are. You also want to list the top 3 goals of your nonprofit. You want to always keep relevant of what is great in your nonprofit and what are the top 3 things that you can tackle through this training. What are the top 3 things that you can tackle this week? What are the top 3 things that you can accomplish today? All right, so let's jump into the curriculum. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about, we always talk about 3 things during our training. The first thing that we want to talk about is the proposal for services to your community partners. Now, when it's time to make a formal proposal. Now, when you're working with community partners, it is an interesting dance between you and the community. We've talked a couple of times on our Serve University platform in regards to really evaluating and thinking about, is this going to be the best community partner for my nonprofit? You're going to have to evaluate time. You're going to have to evaluate how much time that your nonprofit is going to spend in this partnership and how much the other community partner is going to spend in this partnership. Is there any money that needs to be exchanged? Say, for instance, if you're both going for a large 6 or 7 figure grant opportunity and it requires you to have community partners, what does it look like on a money aspect when all of the money comes in the door? And then what type of existing human resources do you have to use within your team that's going to take up their time? Because if you're bringing on more work and more partnerships, it's going to create more work naturally for your organization. So you really got to think about, is this going to be worth the time of my organization? And so if the answer is no, you know that maybe it's not right now, or no, this will never work. And so you'll come to that as naturally as you can. There is no cut dry formula of if this community partner meets this blueprint, because it's always a variable, because you'll always have a constant need for your nonprofit. So if you're looking for someone to cover all of your meals, well, you know that you need to look for a community partner, and you're going to ask for a year's time. You just don't want to get 30 small French fries from McDonald's and it just feeds the kids for 60 minutes of your workshop. No, you want the community partner to feel like that they have a vested interest in your nonprofit, because there's co-brand sharing going on. And so you want to make that a long-term engagement, and then you want it to be an annual engagement. So they look at your nonprofit, especially when it's a business to a nonprofit, you want them to build you into their budget so they can grow their giving as well. So if you're going to a community partner, like you need meals for your monthly programs and you've got 12 monthly programs, well, you'll probably want to look for, the easiest route is to look for one restaurant or pizza shop or submarine shop or grocery store that's going to provide you with 12 meals for 20, 30 people per month. And so that's your highest tier of community partnership for that type of community partnership, because you're asking for someone to engage you in a year. That's your top community partnership. But say, for instance, that there is a small pizzeria that's in your local neighborhood, that they do family night, they do small fundraisers and discounts, and they can't afford all of that. So what if you propose half of that? Okay, maybe they can't do half of that. Maybe they can do 3. So at least that takes a quarter of your meal rations for the year. So then you rinse and repeat that again. Find 3 other community partners that's going to provide you meals for the quarter. You'll want to find a 5th one in the event one of them falls out. And so that's how you build your community partnerships, is that once you say yes, Think of how either one can play or multiple people can serve on that line item of your community service or your community partnership. And so you want to take a look at now, what does that conversation look like in writing? Because you'll get a lot of people that'll say yes, because you have a wonderful nonprofit, you're doing great work in the community. So naturally, people are going to want to partner with you. And so now it's time to solidify. I'm a big stickler in putting things in writing because there once was a time that I didn't, and it was through personal conversations, and then it wound up costing my nonprofit a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of lessons. And so to help new nonprofit leaders, like, let's get it right the first time, or at least the 5th or the 11th time. For intermediate nonprofit leaders, like, let's develop a new way of handling your business in this nonprofit community. Let's change your thought pattern of running your nonprofits like a business. Because the third category of people that are listening to is our 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure nonprofit leader that need to develop more customized systems in place, where you're creating templates now for your interns or your summer intern help, or to outsource a part of your customer service arm of your nonprofit, because now you have multiple partners coming to the table. Now your community partner assets look like, for one, like if you're dealing with federal grants and you're going for, let's just say you're going for $9 million over 3 years, so you'll get $3 million a year. And so the federal grant proposal requires that you have at least 25 to 35 community partners. That's a ton of people to manage, but you have to make sure that you have everything within the file, because if the feds need to come for an audit, you got to have it in one centralized space. So these are templates that I've developed over my career span of being a grassroots, starting out as an executive director, and then transitioning into corporate nonprofits, federal governments. So these tools that I've developed goes through a range of people that will be watching this training. Okay, so your proposal for services to your community partners. Okay, so I'm sure that there's more, but I thought of 14 components of a community partnership, and then I provided you with a template. So let's discuss and go over what are the 14 components. Of course, you have a cover letter, a welcome page, a community partner contact information, time commitment of community partnership that explains like briefly how long is it going to last, the location, is it at your house or my house, highlights of the community partnership, like what's the benefits of us being together, and then what are the resources that you need from the community partner. And we'll go through this when we look at the template. You want to discuss your common goals together. You highlight it here, and then you bring it back and remind them after you remind them what you need from them. Then we'll discuss the scope of services of what each of the community partners will do, the amount of community partnership time required, what's it going to require of them, the community partner, the investment. If there's an investment in the partnership, like I just gave you the $9 million over 3 years, $3 million each, what is the investment of the community partner coming on? And then my nonprofit or your nonprofit's summary overview and a list of community resources so they can talk to other people on the behalf. So a part of your homework assignment when you do this home study is to research at least 3 potential community partners that would be a great match for your nonprofit. Because now you're getting training in order to really decipher, like, are these people ready to play? Or is it not now? Well, I'll put them in my mental Rolodex, and then we'll re-engage with them in maybe 3, 6, 9, 12 months, maybe at a time that your nonprofit matures, where you can absorb their type of love to what you have going on in your community. And so there is a template that goes along with the community partners and meetings. It's called the Proposal to Community Partners. So let's take a look at this, or proposal for services to community partners. So in each one of the templates that I provide to you in our virtual dashboard is that I show it to you in a PDF version just for visual purposes from a 30,000 foot view level. And then I provide you with a Word document. This is very easy for this Word document to be in there. If you click on it, you're able to download it and it will open up into the Word document if you want to work through it on a Word document. See that? Pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's go back here. And so now I'm going to walk you through where all 14 of these components were. I'm going to walk you through where they are in the template. So when you go in and update and change and amend them for your nonprofit, send them through your board members, send them through your program team, send it through your legal counsel to make sure that the conversation is appropriate for your nonprofit. And so where I have in the highlighted yellow sections is where you, as the student, need to go in and update your own templates. It's so easy when you get systems and formats that all you have to do is update it for the next audience. And so this cuts down administrative time of trying to create yet another proposal. You can even take these type of templates and put them on a shared drive and then give your board members, your program team members, or your interns accessibility. And so when these type of opportunities come up, you as the executive director can delegate these type of proposals or invoices or timesheets. Delegate that, use your time wisely. Start thinking like an executive director and a CEO of a nonprofit. Get somebody on your board that can fill in the blanks. You've highlighted it. I've highlighted 80% of it. All you have to do is go in there and put in your information and then leave it highlighted and that be the template. Then you write up a 1 to 2 page operational sheet that tells this like the answer key, that tells your intern, program team, or your executive director where to go complete it. And so now the conversations in your time is less than 5 minutes. Hey, Tammy, the board member, I need you to jump in and create a community partnership proposal for Salvation Army. I'm going to send you an email with the answer key. I just need you to go in there and zhuzh it up for me, and then jump into the nonprofit's email and then send this to the person because I've got to go pick up a check for $1,000. So as an executive director, these are why templates are so helpful to help you delegate things and focus your time on the warm and juicy stuff. Okay, so let's jump in. So your nonprofit name goes there, your proposal for community partnership, and your community partner's name. Page 2. What you'll do in the headers and the footers is you'll make sure that you'll update it with the community partner's name, and then you'll, erase my tagline down there. And you want to create a welcome letter, like, hey, community friends, make it general or you can make it specific. Use a picture of your nonprofit in action or a picture of you as the executive director. Page 3. Here is the community partner information. So you'll put community partner or what their name is, the nonprofit, their contact information, and the time commitment of the community partnership. And so you want to be specific with the days and how many hours per week. The location of services, if there is an address that you need to use, a room number, parking instructions, you want to be as specific as possible because as you are writing this content, you're going to have to copy and paste this information to different things as you go along with the community partnership. So having it centralized here is a great resource because once you have that conversation with your volunteers of where they're going to serve at, all you do is just copy and paste it from here. Your community partnership. And now this is one that I created for a community partnership. Feel free to amend it, but this is our community partnership. We were attending onboarding trainings with the executive director and the program team. We implement the community partnership and add value to the ongoing organization's community conversation. We maintain the community partnership with monthly communications. We provide onboard training for incoming volunteers, and we provide monthly summary report of services provided. That way that the community partnership will have updates of what's going on. And so as the community partner resources, you can request this and or more information. Now, this is for a more robust community partnership, but if it's something small, if all you need is their program description, you need their 501c3 to verify that they're a 501c3, you need a list of their board members, everything that's here is public knowledge and accessible, but you're asking your community partner for this. Now, I would recommend that you put it in an electronic format and do it in a shared drive. That way you're not having volumes of paper. But you can ask for all of this or some of it. Page 4, your goals. Improve your visibility to get found and contacted by grantors, volunteers, and community stakeholders. Your goal together is to jointly seek grant opportunities for corporate and community connections. Number 3, grow and manage the volunteer opportunities to engage the community. And number 4, engage community audience and establish leadership solutions for our community issues. That is the goal of the partnership. And I didn't drill down up until this point. These are 30,000-foot view of the community partnership to let the community partnership understand that there's value here of coming together. We're not competing, we're collaborative, and we have a unanimous goal to serve more kids, serve more young people, whatever it is, that there is enough work there's enough homeless people to go around to open up one more shelter. Things of that nature. Okay. Scope of services. Now, this is where you get into I guess you call it like the nitty gritty of what you need from the community partner. And so this is an example of me working with a community partner for our after school program for 10 weeks that we wanted to use their space, work with their existing student population, and to provide a free workshop for the teens and their parents. And so as you can read through here, there were 7 bullet points. You want to keep it at 7 bullet points or more. If not, it makes the community partner feel like, should I really go into this? Because this feels like I'm signing my life away. And so you want to make the goals attainable and manageable so they know exactly what they're signing up for. And so the first bullet point explains that I wanted 10 workshops held every Tuesday evening for 10 weeks from 5:30 to 7:30, consecutively giving the date where it was with my community partner. That was very specific. And I wanted to provide free workshops to the teens and their families. And that we would I want my community partner to encourage students to attend the workshops and participate. Since it's their student body and I was bringing the program to their student body, then I asked my community partner, hype me up, put flyers out, encourage me, sit in the room, talk about the program and how it's going to benefit and build it up for me, because they interact with the kids and they have a better relationship with me than the kids, even though we're dope in the classroom. You need that extra incentive from your community partner. And so I wanted my community partner to provide the workshop supplies. We were giving them the workshop free of charge. And our workshops value in the unapologetically $5,000 range. And so because we were coming in with our facilitators in our curriculum, we asked our community partner, can you pay for the supplies? Can you pay for their binders that will bring the printed version and punch holes in it? You get the binders. Okay, you're gonna make sure that they have snack and something to eat. we need a dry erase board, we need a projector, we need adequate seating. Like, you got to ask your community partner to come up to the table. If you value your programs and services at a particular dollar amount, then your community partner's output needs to equate in a dollar format of what that community partnership you've done and what they've done. And so we ask them to pay for the supplies. We're going to track all the outcomes and provide them with a summary report at the conclusion that evaluates the effectiveness. So we were giving our students surveys, and then we would create a summary report and give that to our community partner. And then they can use that for their grant purposes and to do whatever it is that they need to. Like, that's how you solidify a community partnership, with giving them a summary report. And so, and you can find the summary report through our academic internship programs. We did that. And so let me do this, because I'm feeling quite generous right now, is that let me provide you with a summary report. How about that? This is what we do on Serve University Camp. Have you ever had a professor that like gives you like fun homework? And so let me go in here and provide you with some free some free resources. So we did it with the academic community partnerships, monthly summary report, bam. Look at that. Because all of our templates are interchangeable, what I want you all to do is let me attach the Word version of this. And so now all you have to do, all you have to do is this is a monthly summary report for interns that we did in our workshop called the Academic Internship Program. But this is also a summary report that you can use with your community partners, because you have an overview, especially if you're sharing students or women or veterans or families, whatever it is, that this is a sample of a summary report that you can definitely share not only with your internal team, not only with your interns, but your community partners as well. Look at all of the cool stuff. Okay. So, here are your scope of services. Amount of time that is required by the community partner. And so you want to make sure that there's clear communication, like, look, it's all great, but it has to be work that needs to be done. So we need to establish in the beginning, let's set intention of this partnership, like, I need your time. And so you're gonna, in the beginning, like 1 to 2 hours per week for the first 4 weeks. That is in telephone conversations, that's in meetings, that's in phone conversations. However it is that you communicate, like, you're gonna have to talk at least 1 hour to 2 hours per week the first month of the community partnership. Then you really want to talk at least 2 times per month to make sure that you all have transparency in the partnership, especially if you're reporting back to a funder. You want to have possibly reserve time for weekly 15-minute check-ins. You want to have a questionnaire, so any upfront questions that you need to ask them, you need to complete a questionnaire, put it on a Google form, and allow them to do it electronically so it comes out in a spreadsheet for you, as opposed to you having yet another telephone conversation, like share the workload, where it's automated for them. And so you'll spend about 2 to 3 hours discussing, like, what is this community partnership strategic plan? Like, we're coming together and doing what? Like, we're explaining this, but like, okay, so in here, we talked about that I wanted it in the team room. Here it is. So if the partnership was in the team room, what do I need to do in order to secure the team room and block out those dates? That goes into the strategic plan. How do we promote this? What is going to be the room monitor for my community partner that's going to be in the room? Like, you've got to create, like, once you say yes, all of these paperwork, this is real cool, but like, what, now it's time to plan it out in a strategic plan. And then you'll spend about 5 to 8 minutes a day responding to emails. And then there's unlimited technical assistant support within your community partner. Now let's talk about the money. Ooh, money. Now, the investment. If there's money to be exchanged, you have to write it down per penny per hour. So if the investment is that it was for 30 hours of service for the after school program, like this is how much that we would have had to equate it. And so you want to break it down hour by hour, month by month. Because if there's money exchange, you need to know when you're sending it and when you're receiving it. Payment terms, if it's 2 payments per month, how is it that you're getting it? When do you need it? And when will you be invoiced for the reimbursement or the direct payment for services in a community partnership? If this doesn't apply to you, like, erase it. That's simple form of template. If anything does not apply to you in the template, just erase it. And then the easy part is to add a 300-word nonprofit summary here and use about half the page if you want to include a nice picture, but talk a little bit about your nonprofit, reiterate your mission statement, highlight some of your successes, and anything that you deem important that the community partner needs to know. And then you have your community references. Give your community partner 2 to 3 community resources that they can pick up the phone and call. And so this gives the community partner some security in feeling like that they may not be the first guinea pig, or that there have been other people that can speak highly of you, that they can have another unicorn to really speak transparently about how your community partnership benefited another group of people, and they are there now. Your current community partnership is going to make them feel more welcome because they're joining a body of like-minded other individuals. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied this evening. And so that is your proposal to community partners. And then you got your freebie with the monthly summary report for community partners. Just change it around. Okay, so an MOU. An MOU is the acronym for Memorandum of Understanding. Now, this type of terminology is used more relevant in nonprofits than business to business, because agreement or contract makes it sound like an employee or makes it a little uncomfortable for the nonprofit. But if you use Memorandum of Understanding, it's pretty much the same thing. It is a written communication between 2 organizations that are doing service in the community. And so your partnership agreement has 8 components to this. And I'll show you. This is like the contract between you and the nonprofit. This is when you sign on a dotted line. So you have a proposal first, and then you sign on the dotted line. This is how you make it a legitimate community partnership. And this is really exciting because, especially when you get to larger grant opportunities, they're going to ask for this. And when you are working on a federal grant, trust me, I know. When you're working on a federal grant, like, it takes you about 100 hours to work on a federal grant. And out of that 100 hours, about 60 of those hours is actually writing the grant. The other 40 hours is dedicated to gathering all of the attachments that you need in order to go through the application. And what may seem very simple to go get, sometimes it is exhausting. One of those is a memorandum of understanding, especially retroacting a community partnership that happened like 3 years ago, and you can't find them, but you're speaking about them in your current verbiage, and like it just gets real convoluted. And so this is not meant to be intimidating at all to your community partners. Like, this is how you operate business. And if you don't have a community partner that's willing to sign this, you need to evaluate your community partnership, because if it's not in an MOU, they've got to write a letter of support for you. Maybe I need to include that as well. Look at me adding gifts as we're talking. Okay. And I included this in another training. I just don't know where it is. Let's see. I love giving you guys. Let's see if it's in here. Nope. I'm going to find it for you guys. Let's see. Nope. This is probably not, oh, wait. One of these is a letter of support. And so I'm going to add this for you. No worries, I will add this for you of a community letter of support. And it'll be a template that your community partner can write on your behalf, because you got to have one or the other, a memorandum of understanding or community letter of support. And I'll add that. So when I add the video, I'll add the community letter of support template. And so the memorandum of understanding has 8 pieces. The last one had 14, the proposal had 14, this has 8. So it gets to the nitty gritty. The overview of the nonprofit, the description of the program partnership, the scope of services for both. I needed to erase one of these, so it looks like it's 7. Okay, I'll update that as well, because this is double. You'll have the scope of services for both the nonprofit and the community partner. There will be governance, termination of the community partnership, because you can terminate the agreement with no problem. The acceptance of the partnership, and then the signatures. So I'll update this to say 7 components instead of 8. I thought there was 7. But let's get into the memorandum of understanding. So I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit. The memorandum of understanding. So this is like a contract. And so remember that there is the Word version template that you can download this. There's going to be a lot of cut and paste. So your nonprofit's name will go there, your community partners there, and then your program name here. So just make sure, again, this was one of mine. I always give you something that I have used that has worked successfully, so you can use it as well. So modify it where you need, but I show you mine as an example. Make sure that you write a brief description about your nonprofit's mission, and then exactly what you need. Again, remember, I took this words from, took those words from right here. See, within the scope of services, took it right here, because you want the language consistent. The workshop description, describe what it is that your nonprofit is doing in the partnership. There's that date again. Your intent to partnership. Everybody has your name and their name. And so you agree into the scope of services. These scope of services here are copied exactly from these scope of services here, because you want the proposal language to read in the memorandum of understanding. They don't say separate words. So you want what's in the proposal to mimic what's in the memorandum. You sign the memorandum after you verbally go through the proposal. Maybe you're changing and modifying this. This is the initial conversation. And so, excuse me, when you get it solidified, it'll be the exact communication piece under the scope of services of your nonprofit. Now, this is what in the conversation, these are all of the things that you all have negotiated with the community partner is going to look like. About purchasing the supplies, someone being in the classroom, posting information, ensuring that you have a classroom. They need to have insurance, or you need to have insurance. Everybody is aware of what the partnership is doing. And then at the end, that they will complete a form that says satisfaction and release of our nonprofit of executing all the logistics of the community partnership. What that does is that makes sure that both you and the nonprofit have fulfilled both of you all's obligations under this memorandum of understanding. The governance means that both of you mutually agree to entering into this partnership, and they agree to offer opportunity to participate in programs that are free from all of this EEOC language. Because some federal grants actually require that you have this type of verbiage in your community partnership MOU. Terminate, like you can do 15 days, you can do 3 days notice, you can do 24 hours. You accept into the partnership and everybody signs on the dotted line. You keep a hard copy, they keep a hard copy, you put it electronically. Now it's time to get to work. And so here's your memorandum of understanding. Again, I will upload the community letter of support when I upload the video and make the changes to the e-workbook. The next and last tab is community meetings. Now, no matter what you are doing in your particular community, no matter what problem that you are solving, you gotta get around other unicorns and collaborate that are doing the same work. It is not competition, it is collaboration. And so you need to look for task force within your immediate local community, whether it is your citizens, whether it is your city of Los Angeles, city of Atlanta, city of Cleveland. Each one of your cities are divided possibly in wards, or they're in districts, or they're in neighborhood planning units. However your city is divided up, there is a local representative there that hosts monthly or quarterly meetings. You need to do some research within your community to find out who that contact person is and get on their emailing list. You have a local politician, whether you agree with their amendments or not, they are hosting meetings as well. Get on their mailing list. The more and more mailing lists that you get in, you can sift through all of their spam email or all of their solicitations and find out when the community meetings are there. And you and your board member need to go to these meetings and listen to the conversations in the community, listen to the problem, and then create the solution based on the problem. So you're going to the meetings initially to listen. Like go to like 1 or 2 meetings and just listen. Listen who's leading the meeting. Listen to who always talking in the audience in the meeting. Listen to what are the ongoing topics that they didn't resolve from last meeting that's coming up in this meeting. Like now it's time for you to hit the payment, and it starts in your service area. If you are working with kids in schools, you need to find out when the school board meeting is, in the PTA meeting. Ask the school to put you on their school mailing list so you can start getting into the conversation. If you are meeting with or helping with veteran services, well, you need to go to a VWF and find out when their meetings are, and then start building your services and programs around what's already going on in the community and creating the solution. Like if you are working with homeless services, homeless situations happen or are the responsibility of the city. So if you're working with a homeless population, like you got to go to the city and find out, well, who's responsible for homeless people or aging people. And so each city, I recommend that you go to the United Way. Each United Way in a major city or even in smaller cities has the community listings of who's doing the work in the community through United Way 211, as well as they may have been doing some case studies about what's going on in the community as well. And then they have the meetings to tell you what's going on. I know that was a lot of information. I hope that it was valuable because community meetings, there's no real algorithm to how to look for community meetings, but I can tell you where to start looking. And so you got to stay connected to the conversation. You want to do some research, but you also want to look for your new community partners. And so when you start creating directories of community partners, it's going to make it easier to reach out to them to make sure that you're attending their events, being seen in the community, and inviting them to your events. And so this is a list of knowing who is in your local community as a business or as a nonprofit or as a community asset that'll help you with your nonprofits. And here are some recommendations. And I'll explain to you in just a moment why this is a good start of all of these different categories. Okay, banks, beauty and barbershops, city hall, entertainment, grocery stores, library and bookstores, medical services, parks, post office, public safety, recreation centers, and schools. And so if you click on the page on your right-hand side to community partners and meetings, now, this is a template again. You have your Word version, but we're looking at it in a PDF. I'm going to enlarge it just a little bit. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do some internet research. Again, if this is a shared project, ask your board members to at least take 3 of these, 3 of the categories. All they'll have to do is start doing some research. So you want to start with 3. You can put this on an Excel spreadsheet, and this can run 10 different banks in a category, 10 different beauty and barbershops, whatever it is that you need. But these are your basic ones that you need to find in the community. So you want to find 3 partners in each one of these categories and find out if they are having meetings in the community. You want to find 3 banks. The reason why you want to find 3 banks is that you can build into financial literacy in any one of your programs. Banks are your biggest partners. Number one, they'll come out and teach your curriculum or teach their curriculum that fills the gap where you don't have to teach. And then it also provides you in a great opportunity to find out when the family nonprofits or the family foundations are having grant opportunities, or when you can open up new banking account for women that are establishing their new life, or if you have young people that are transitioning into college and they need a college savings fund for their families. There are different ways of how you can integrate banks into your scope of services with community partners for your nonprofit. Beauty and barbershops are great places to promote to the community if they allow you to put up your flyers, or if there's a way for them to become volunteers. They're great resources of having that community conversation. City Hall, you always want to let the people know at City Hall what you're doing, because if you can get city officials out, or if they are the ones that are hosting the meetings, you can go to the meetings to promote your event. Entertainment, things like movie theaters, maybe a movie theater or a skating rink or a bowling alley is in your community. Excuse me. What better way to give an incentive gift card is to get something from an entertainment place? Grocery stores. Every nonprofit needs chips and dips. Grocery stores are a great way to fill the line item with your meals. Libraries and books, libraries and bookstores, another great resource to hang up your posters or flyers, or to get the communication out, or to do research on specific programs. Medical services. Your nonprofit may need to get CPR certified in first aid training, or you may be working with a health fair, Or what if there's a doctor or a dentist or a pediatrician and a childhood orthodontist or a childhood dentist in the community, and you're working with young people? They may want to sponsor, because if their logo is associated with your young people, that's going to help them with co-branding opportunities. Parks, free spaces to hold your outside activities. Post office. You need to know where your post office is, because if you need to mail something or something has to be postmarked by a certain date and time, you need to find your local 3 post offices so you don't miss that deadline. Like in Atlanta, there are post offices that stay open to 4 or 5 o'clock, but then there's a post office by my house that stays open 24 hours. And so if I'm trying to get a deadline out that needs to be stamped by a specific time, or if I'm working full time, I remember when I was working full time, and if I didn't make the post office on my lunch break, then I had to do it when I got home, because I know that I needed to get to the post office for a certain time for that grant application to be stamped. Public safety, your fire, your police, your emergency, they can be volunteers. They can also be guest speakers. They can also really provide a great referral to what's going on in the community, and to let you know when the community meetings are happening, because more than likely they'll have a representative from their battalion or from their post at that community meeting. Recreation centers, those are indoor meeting spaces. There may be a small or waived fee for nonprofits. And then schools. Schools are great resources for not only young people, but connecting with parents, adult learners, different resources. So maybe it's universities and colleges. So you get to devise this list the way that you want to, but these are either existing or potential community partners that is at least in your less than 50-mile radius. And then when you're doing the research, you're also researching that if that particular business or entity has any community meetings, get signed up on their news mailing list in order to find out when the updates are, because they will invite you. And so let's go back through our tabs real quickly with our e-workbook. Don't forget that I will be updating this with some of the updates that we had discussed. The video training, this will be downloaded because it's being recorded. It will be uploaded, and you'll have 30 days to download this video. Download it to your laptop or to your cloud library, and use this as ongoing training. Again, if you can't implement some of these things now, but you know that it's juicy, great information that you may be able to implement like in 6 to 12 months, like save it in your cloud so you can reference it at a later time. But that will be uploaded to this right here. The tabs, you have your proposal for services, which you can go through the yellow section, go ahead and update. And then a summary report that you can keep between you and your community partner. Memorandum of understanding. This is a document that you need to have your legal counsel take a look at and your board of directors to make sure that the template is something of the language that suits you and your community partner. I'm going to upload the community letter of support. And then your last tab is your community partners and meetings, where this is a start of where you can use a host of different people that you haven't connected with or that you have connected with in the community. And these are great people that will be your next donor, your next volunteer, your next herald that will carry your message in the community. So it's time to start making friends in the community. And these are tools and techniques and templates that will help you solidify your partnership. So this is the conclusion of your community partnerships and meetings for Serve University. And we're so thrilled and excited that you stepped onto the campus this evening to learn tips and tools of how to really solidify your nonprofit, how to really start running your nonprofit like a business, because as you grow and you start to get your word out in the community, you're going to have more and more people that want to come and play in your sandbox. And that's a great feeling to have your message being heard across the community. They know that you recognize that there is a need and that you have a solution for it. But you need to evaluate, is this the best partnership for you? And if the answer is yes, you have all the tools that you need to get started within your community partnership to solidify it in writing and have a successful and enjoyable community partnership. And so thank you all for joining the community partnerships and meetings. I am Brandy Ray Hicks. I am your nonprofit navigator. I am the professor of Serve University, but most of all, and most importantly, I am your sister in service. So thanks for joining in this evening, and we appreciate you all. Thank you so much. So I'm going to stop the recording.